Hello and welcome to the Trail and Adventure Motorbike Podcast with me, Clive Barber, and my good mate, Noel Tom. For the days when you can't ride your bike, there's always the Trail and Adventure Motorbike Podcast. Alright gang, I'm back and I've got a cold, so forgive this slightly lackluster introduction. Although, let me try and put it on. Let me try and be the radio star. We'll see how that goes. Alternate start, number 2. Hey, welcome back, guys. Welcome to the podcast. With festival season fast approaching, we thought it was about time we spoke to our really good friends, Mark and Jamie, the Lightweight Adventurers, about their festival for 2024, which is being held in July in the Peak District. It's called the Lightweight Adventure Festival. Noel and I are going to be running a stage. We're very much looking forward to it. We've got loads of great people lined up to come and talk to us on the stage and to do various things during the weekend. We'll be there for the duration. We hope lots of you can make it. We know we've met a lot of you there in previous years, so it'd be great to see you all again and share a beer with me or a cup of tea with Noel. Right, let's get on with it. It's lovely to have you back on and your new friend. We'll introduce your new friend in a minute, or we'll get him to introduce himself. But welcome back to the podcast, our very good friends, Jamie and Mark, the Lightweight Adventurers, who are here to talk to us all about the exciting new lightweight. Well, it's not that new. It's 3 years old, but there's some exciting developments in the Lightweight Adventurers Festival 2024.
Isn't it your birthday today?
It is, 59. Traditionally, there's something you say after that when you realise it's somebody's birthday.
God, you're old.
Fuck's sake. Introduce us to your new friend.
Yeah, well, firstly, thanks for having us on. Yeah, it's great to be back chatting to you guys. It really is. We've got the latest member of the Lightweight Adventurers, and his name is Jim, and he is also a real person.
Was he allowed to talk? Introduce yourself, Jim.
Well, I guess I put my hand up as a volunteer last year at the Lightweight Festival, and I've kind of carried on talking to Mark and Jamie ever since, and got involved a lot more in organising this year's event. So yeah, I've come on board really as the third lightweight adventurer. I think I've appeared in a couple of Mark's videos in the background. I don't think I'm going to be making loads of video content, but more helping in the background, so Mark and Jamie can really do the bits that they love.
If you were at the festival last year and you were on a big silly bike and you were pushed off the site, you were probably pushed off by Jim.
That was me.
Did anyone roost you, Jim, whilst you were doing that good work?
If they did, you've got photo evidence of it.
Did you know Noel gets really upset that you keep using his photos and don't credit him?
I've remembered at least once.
Yes. They've just got mixed up with all the others.
No, they're predominantly yours, mate. They are predominantly yours. So if I'm using a photo for any level of promo for the Lightweight Adventure Festival, which Clive will get the name for correctly by the end of the podcast, it's going to be one of Noel's photos, because they're so excellent. But I will remember from here on in to credit.
I think that's an apology, Noel. You accepting that?
Absolutely an apology, Noel, but just take some better photos next time and I'll use more of them. Yeah.
Say sorry. You've not said sorry.
Cleb, you got the name for the festival wrong when you introduced it, because that is new to this year, isn't it? It's like the Lightweight Adventure Festival.
Thing is, you're going to look stupid because I'll edit that bit out and it'll be perfect when I say it.
Oh, it's like heckling a comedian, isn't it? He's got the mic.
The editing skills.
Almost like heckling a comedian, with one small difference.
No, for the record, I'm very sorry for not crediting you. I'm very sorry. Your photos are excellent.
Not at all. I'm just honoured that you used them.
That's not what he says behind your back. Lightweight Adventurous Festival 2024. Tell us about it. What's new? What is it called?
It's called the Lightweight Adventure Festival.
The Lightweight Adventure. Right. So, the Lightweight Adventure Festival. Tell us all about it, chaps. What's new?
Well, I guess the big thing is new site. For the last 2 years, we've been in sort of northwest Derbyshire, and we're going to move a little bit further north, more into the heart of the Peak District. And we've got a site that's about 5 times larger than the site we had last year. So we can really start to kind of split stuff up a little bit. Much flatter. Thankfully, a road in and out of it as well. So hopefully I won't be pushing everybody out the exit. Kind of work with Mark and Jamie we've got now two large stretch tents. So we'll have you guys in one, TAMP podcast stage in one. So we'll speak to you about what you're going to bring to that in a bit. And then Mark and Jamie hosting the Lightweight Adventurers stage.
The Lightweight Adventurous stage in the Lightweight Adventure Festival.
It's almost like it fits in it.
That's not fucking confusing at all. Carry on.
We changed the name on purpose. It's a very conscious decision because we didn't want it to be necessarily about us anymore and more about people having lightweight adventures. I know we're getting pretty big.
Who are you trying to kid? It's all about you.
And anyway, everybody was getting it wrong on social media and calling it the Lightweight Adventure Festival. So that was a decision made, wasn't it? Everybody had named it for us. It was a bit self-glorifying and we can call it Lightweight Adventurers, but it wasn't intended as that when we set it up. It was like everybody who comes are Lightweight Adventurers and it's a festival for them, but it didn't really work in practice. So year 3, we've had to change it.
You've changed the venue, but it's still in the Peak District, right?
Yeah. We learnt so many lessons from last year as well, you'll remember. And it was a fine field, but it was on a slope. It was where, as all things Peak District are. So we just had to, it was born out of necessity really, and all the lessons that we'd learned. But ultimately we've moved into the Hope Valley by Castleton, this little place called Tideswell. It's on Tideswell Moor. And like Jim says, it's got roads, it's got hard standings, it's got barns, it's got 4 huge fields that we can use, each at least the size of the original field. So we've got designated camping field, which we'll come on to in a second. It's got this middle activity field. It's got the main event field where the tents will be. It's got a living field. It's got, honestly, you can't wait to show you it, guys. We've got everything.
From what I've heard before, the site sounds like there's some improvements to it with sort of more hard standing and some sheltered areas just in case the weather is a bit shit like it was last year.
We learnt so many lessons from last year because last year's festival was fine in the respect that it was a nice big open field and we had 400 odd people there and everybody fitted in. We had plenty of space. The space wasn't really an issue, but tracks, hard standing, permanent shelter, trees to break the wind because we've got this huge strong prevailing wind that comes over the Peak District. We didn't have any of that. It's fine when the weather's fine, but when the weather turns, we're doomed, aren't we? So we've moved to this new place by Castleton, this little place called Tideswell. It's on the side of the Hope Valley, and it's got proper dug-in roads with proper stone laid. It's got beautiful, Noel, you'd love it, it's got dry stone walls right throughout the place.
Lovely. It's
got hard standing, it's got barns, it's got everything you would expect from like a well-found event site, but in reality, it's a farm, it's a working farm.
Is there going to be a petting area? And a lot of flat ground for camping this year?
The camping field, its normal use is a hay field. The farmer grows it for hay, so it's beautiful, lush green grass. It's beautiful to walk through. But it's actually got a slight incline at one end. And so in respect of another festival that Jamie and I loved when we went, Overland Festival, which is held at the Hill End Outdoor Activity Centre, we're actually going to call the camping field Hill End Camping Field because it's got a slight incline. But it's a beautiful field. Honestly, it's really thick, luscious grass. An air mattress to sleep on alone, do you reckon?
It's going to be quite amusing if this year there's just like a massive issue with heat and everyone getting sunstroke.
Well, we actually had that on year 1. Year 1, if you remember, was absolutely red hot. And that was kind of what fed into some of the problems of last year because we kind of didn't have to encounter them on year 1. And then year 2 was windy and rainy. So hopefully year 3, I think it's like the sort of Goldilocks rule, isn't it? Year 3 is supposed to be just right. That's what I've heard.
Clive was complaining last year that there was no showers.
It was constant showers and wind.
You got an article in Motorcycle News, MCN, and I think
we did.
Did you see did you spot the deliberate error?
We did, yeah.
When it said you've got space for 5,000 people. I don't think that's right, is it?
Have we got space? Yeah, we've got space if we wanted it. Yeah, we could fit easily 5,000 to 6,000 in the site. But it comes with a big caveat. That's not our intention. So could the site hold that? Yeah, it could, yeah. This year, the aspiration is to allow a few more people on site because we've got the space for it, got the activities. So maybe up to around about 800 at physical capacity for 5,000. But
so what exciting new things have we got to look forward to?
Our big exciting news is the Academy of Adventure, and it's going to have its home at the festival. That's going to be a huge part of it. We've taken a lot of inspiration from non-biking festivals, actually, and we're trying to bring a similar vibe into the Lightweight Adventure Festival. So the idea is that anybody can come and hopefully learn a skill, learn something, anything from basic bushcraft to changing tyres to cooking or foraging or whatever it might be, but you can learn all of these skills, and rather than it being sitting in a big crowd listening to just one presenter talk about what they've done, it would be in much more intimate, smaller settings of, I don't know, 10 to 15 people with an instructor, and being able to have a sort of 45-minute lesson in essence, and really get interactive and understand what it's all about. So, for example, last year we had Gordon was quite popular with his sort of trials element, and he was given a lot of instruction on tyre changing and some basic trials, sort of skills for balance, etc. So you might be able to book onto a course with Gordon and just sit with him for an hour. I mean, I know he doesn't like to talk, but you can probably ask him a few questions and get some proper sort of one-on-one instruction and some good sort of intimate conversation around about whatever subjects it is you want to learn. And that's going to be launched at the festival this year.
I think Gordon actually ended up presenting one of our awards, didn't he? Just got up and helped himself.
Yeah, I think he took receipt of the British military Gore-Tex, didn't he? He was a self-nominated military representative.
He gave himself an award, but then also presented another one to somebody else.
He doesn't like to be the centre of attention. He'll tell you that.
I'm not sure any of us can criticise him for that, though, to be fair.
So the Academy's going to run for the bulk of the day. And like Jamie said, it's going to be hard skills, but we're quite keen to build in some soft skills as well, because Jamie and I are teachers. Jim's a qualified teacher. So I was approached by somebody recently, and she wants to give a workshop about facing fears as a female rider, for example. I thought, what a brilliant sort of workshop to do, something that I could never do because I'm not that. And so we're bringing the appropriate person in to come in and give that workshop. So yeah, expect a whole array of them. We're going to list them prior to the festival, so you can know which ones you're going to hopefully attend.
That's a great idea. I love that one.
The important bit about the Academy of Adventure is that small group size as well. So it's not one person presenting to 15 people and them just listening. It's all about taking part. So rather than last year Gordon showing 50 people how to change a tyre, this will be Gordon with 10 to 15 people and them all getting hands-on. So, rather than it being the first time you change a tyre when you're on the trail and it's really cold, muddy and wet, and suddenly you've got to put that YouTube research into practice, actually doing it on a tyre with some instruction there. And that goes along right the way through all those different courses that we're hoping to host.
That's come from our military sort of idea. We do this thing called PDT, post-deployment training, where you do your day-to-day, 50 days of the year, and then the week or 10 days prior to rolling up to the deployment, you do some very precise, bespoke training, PDT, and then you go out and you do whatever. And that's something when Jamie and I started 3 years ago, we wanted to just go to this event, whatever this thing was, and learn these basic adventure skills, which weren't necessarily riding, because we still haven't got around to that, like the riding skills, but everything around it. Like, great, somewhere I can go and learn to be a better adventurer. Okay, well, that's the Academy of Adventure right there.
And it's going to go everything from someone who's brand new into our world of adventure, but also it could be somebody who wants to do a long trip and they want to understand about visas and carnets. So there might be an element of that, because actually, as soon as you start to try and research that world, as I don't know, Mark's been sort of looking at that recently, actually, you just want to soak up as much information from as many people as you possibly can. So being able to ask those questions is hugely important. Hopefully it's a thing that we can offer in the Academy.
Have you got any confirmed speakers you're able to share with us at this stage?
One huge name, Austin Vince, is coming along.
Amazing.
Going to be doing some, as he described it, Baden-Powell pioneering. I don't know precisely what that means, but I'm already fascinated. So I put it to him that I would like to see a bike going down a zip wire. Just at some point, generically, I was talking about going across a river, and he goes, yeah, I can absolutely do that, dear boy. I was like, brilliant. So Austin's going to be doing some Baden-Powell pioneering. It's going to be doing a bit of tarpology and a keynote speak one night. So it's going to be fantastic. I can tell you about two others that are just really cool other riders. And then I'm going to turn the question back onto you, so you've got to be aware of this. We've got Hema Chowdhury coming along. If you've never listened or spoken with Hema, incredible lady who rode the Himalayas a while back, and we met her at MCN in London recently, and she tells you about how she travelled the Himalayas and met the local people, and it's fascinating. She lives in Manchester and she's local, and yeah, it's just honestly listening to it is like, wow, that's a whole different world that I'd like to get into. And then Nye Davies, who recently went all the way through Africa, so he's going to talk to us about going down the African continent. So, I mean, that's just three of the people that we've got speaking. So already it's like, this is incredible, right?
Well, we know Nye. Nye will be great, won't he?
But another part of the Lightweight Adventure Festival, which is new this year, is not so much the TAMP stage, but you've got full autonomy over the stage this year, haven't you? I guess I'm curious, and to put you squarely on the spot, who's making the shortlist now for the TAMP stage?
The thing is with our stage, you basically stole my Rolodex off me. So you've got all of my names, contact names and telephone numbers. We're going to need to have a little sit down and work out who you've contacted that are originally my friends that you've now got onto your stage.
We're your friends. Now our friends have forgotten you as a friend.
We have got some fantastic people lined up. The last two people I've invited to come, and they've both sort of said a tentative maybe, Noodles for Breakfast, who we had on recently, who are currently touring in South America. And as I said on the podcast, they've got a very strong Instagram game, so it'd be great for them to talk through some of their amazing photographs and videos. And then my new best friend, Simon Josie from Real Riders, who does a podcast based on talking to people that make adventure motorbike films. So he's a fascinating character as well. So I'd love to get another podcaster in there to talk to, or maybe get him to do some interviews on our stage of filmmakers. I think that would be really good.
Constraints of getting guests for a festival like the Lightweight Adventure Festival is everybody's an adventurer. And so typically they don't know whether they're going to be in the country those exact dates or not, and what the readback's going to be. So I've been speaking with Tom and Lauren from I Like Motorbikes, who are currently, or will be hopefully, somewhere around southern Africa, Angola, Namibia. I've been speaking about how can we get them involved, but they're not sure which dates they'll have Wi-Fi to even call in. And so I love that. You know, how do you get people, proper adventurers, into the Lightweight Adventure Festival?
But we've also got people, I think you've spoken to as well, Clive, haven't you? A Dakar rider. We've got Lel Pavey, who's planning on coming along to the festival. We're not exactly sure in what guise. He might be doing workshops, he might be doing a talk. But we spoke to him down in London, didn't we, when we went to the bike shed? And we have spoken to the ever-popular Ben King.
A staple. He's a staple of the festival, isn't he, Ben?
He is. He's headlined for 2 years running, and he reckons he's retired. But there's a lot of people that want to hear the second half of the story again.
In 30 years' time, when the Lightweight Adventure Festival has evolved and it's become something else or moved on, there's going to be a bust of Ben put outside the gates. Future generations are going to walk past and go, that's when we once heard about this guy that made it to Germany.
What about Jack Kemp?
He's going to be there, but I think he's coming along with Moto Junkies. So he's definitely going to be representing Moto Junkies. But obviously he's just been doing a bit of riding through Africa himself, hasn't he? So he may be sort of more in a workshop sort of guise. But the thing with the festival this year is because we're going away from the traditional have loads of people talking all day long on stages and going into more workshops, the lineup for speakers becomes a lot smaller because the tempo of the festival is slightly different. For example, on one of the evenings, you guys are going to be doing your TAM Podcast Awards.
Sorry, one of the evenings? Do you mean the highlight of Saturday evening? Is that what you're talking about?
When we can squeeze it in, we'll...
The highlight of 7:30 to 8:30, you'll be doing the TAM Podcast Awards. Because that was such a hit last year, wasn't it?
It was a brilliant event last year.
Black tie compulsory this year. Last year it was optional. This year, compulsory.
I couldn't believe it when I looked around, and I think it might have been... Was it Fern Hume? And I looked around, and there was this woman stood in a ball gown in the middle of this, well, as we know now, wet Peak District field. And I just thought, it was amazing. There's people with jackets from Savile Row, silk top hats, ball gowns. You were proper dressed to the nines, weren't you? So, yeah, I think we're really going to push the black tie event this year.
All the names you've mentioned so far are just all wonderful, wonderful speakers, aren't they? They're all so knowledgeable about their specific little field or big field. Each one of them is just a joy to listen to, I would say.
100%. And so each of the speakers is, I want to make the point that they're handpicked. You know, we're not just taking people because they're doing the rounds. These people are handpicked because they're experts, because they've got an interesting story and they're entertaining. But also all of the people who are coming along to maybe take part in a workshop or exhibit even, we're encouraging them to get involved in some way of teaching and learning. So if somebody wants to come along and, sell panniers or whatever, great. What else can they do within the workshop? Or what else can they do as part of a talk? So it really becomes this hub of knowledge as well as being fun, funny, entertaining, all the rest of the stuff. Still need and want to keep that.
Can I use this occasion to talk about the awards a little bit this year? Because they're going to be pretty much different to last year, because I thought it was too soon just to do the same awards over again a year later. Not many people have bought new helmets out. Not many people have bought new jackets out in a year's time. So there's a slightly different spin this year. And I still want people to go in and vote for the award. So the URLs, the links are on all of our social media sites, Facebook and Instagram, so you can find them. But we're looking at things like best online retailer, local bike shop, favourite bike cafe or bar, the second best motorcycle podcast. There can be only one best podcast. New product, best adventure film 24, your favourite personality, safety kit, favourite Tampod guest, not him again, please. Best media channel, tools, security, tyres, big and small. Maybe we'll do oil next year. There's also an award for women's kit, so I'm really keen for women to go on there and help spread the word about some of the best women's kit. The TET award is there as well. We're supporting the TET with that award again. And then finally, we've got the Brett Anderson Award for outstanding contribution to adventure and trail motorcycling. So we're really looking forward to hearing who we get nominated for all of those things. And it will be a big gala evening. Everybody, black tie compulsory. Should be a right laugh.
What I didn't hear from that list is which one is slanted or set up for. No, what's the word I'm looking for? Which one can we win? Can we have one about Best Lightweight Adventure Festival?
Yeah, but you know who's going to win that, don't you? ABR or the armchair.
Yeah.
There's one for personality, but you two are fairly free of personality.
So this year, you mentioned just there about the what was the woman's
best women's kit provider.
Well, we're working quite closely with WIMA this year as well, Women in Moto Association, and they are having a big presence at the festival because we really want everyone to understand that it's a friendly festival that is open to everybody, and so we're quite excited for them to have their element as well of the festival, and they're going to bring along a whole sort of section of their association
because that's normal. We should treat it as that's just the way that it should be. But when you walk around so many other events, I'm not singling any event out, but just events generic, really, away from motorcycling, tend to be predominantly blokes, don't we? So I can't put my finger on exactly why that is, but I guess that's why we're partnering with people. But yeah, that's not right and it's not normal. So we would like to try and change that.
The truth is, it's two blokes that started the festival. We don't have a woman's touch.
I'd noticed that.
But the truth is, we were chatting to somebody not that long ago, and they said, "Oh, have you got women's fit T-shirts, festival T-shirts?" And we were like, "No, we just bought T-shirts." And so we have worked quite closely with a few people, just asking their opinion as to what would you want, because we can definitely tell you what we think blokes want. But we're all a bit different, aren't we? So yeah, we're working quite closely with them to try and make it as appealing to everybody as we can.
So have you done that? Have you sorted women's fit T-shirts?
We've got a supplier who's going to do T-shirts on pre-order this year. I think that's worth mentioning as well. So you'll be looking out for that soon. So your merch T-shirts will be predominantly pre-order this year, and they can do all their different cuts and styles that we like. So we've already contacted them for that. So look out for your pre-order link coming your way sooner rather than later, I hope. One of our T-shirts that says, "This is what a female adventurer looks like." It predominantly comes in women's cut, obviously. We've sold a number of those because there's not a lot of bike kit out there specifically for women. And I've been looking through women motorcycle clothing retailers or brands. There's not many. And so, a lot of them are sold as unisex. But the truth is, unisex is, when you hear unisex, read blokes, and it doesn't fit the same. And so... No, I do refute that argument, actually. And so I think that's something we should, as an industry or an organisation, at least challenge a little bit.
I guess unlike other riding festivals or riding weekends, this is about turning up, sitting down, talking to mates, having a beer, taking part in the Academy Adventure, listening to talks. We're not organising any led rides, guided rides around the Peak District, partly because if we put 600 riders, 500 riders around the Peak District on a sunny July weekend, that would do more detriment and harm to adventure riding than it would good. But there's no reason why people can't, in my opinion, kind of make part of their adventure actually getting to the festival. Don't just blast down the motorway to get to the festival. The camping site is on the TET. You could ride the Tep to the festival if you wanted on the Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. There's plenty of campsites in the Peak District, or you could bivvy on the route on the way up and actually make that part of your adventure to get to the festival. And we'll happily, through the socials and stuff, put people in touch if you live in the remote area of Yorkshire or something like that and you don't know anyone else coming to the festival from that area. You can use our socials to try and find someone to ride down to the festival with.
Baffles me a little bit that people are still asking about rides at the weekend when it's such a sort of full and comprehensive timetable on the site. Why people are wanting to disappear away from the site to go for a ride having paid for their weekend at a festival.
It links in with another Facebook post that I put up because I won't name them, but this one person was so flabbergasted that we're charging £99 for the entire weekend. So there's an argument as to how we've priced it that way, and I still believe it to be genuinely excellent value. But also, when you look at other motorcycle riding agencies, their riding weekends consisting of 2 full days. They charge, I don't know, somewhere in the region of £200 to £300 for a weekends of riding tuition, guided trails, etc. We've pitched our ticket at half of that for all of that entertainment. So the truth of it is that putting guides on is just not within our remit, if I'm quite honest. You know, we wouldn't be able to have their other stuff at the festival and those rides, beyond the fact that we don't want to flood the trails, because then it significantly threatens the festival being where it is. It just does because it's such a sensitive area.
I really felt for you on that, Mark, because it sort of showed just how committed to this festival you are, because you were so upset about that. But I just want to say, just ignore that one person, because it's such a bargain, this festival. I think everybody knows that. So don't sweat over that ridiculous man.
When Jamie and I set the festival up, we never wanted it to be seen as, oh, this is a cash cow, this is an opportunity, it has to be self-sustaining. There's no getting around that. It has to have a level of commercial aspect to it, because it needs, festivals cost quite literally tens of thousands of pounds to put on. That's what we have learned. They're not just put together by 3 or 4 grand. It's tens and tens of thousands of pounds. And so it has to be able to pay that, because previously it's actually come out of Jamie and mine's pocket. It can't do that longevity. And so I didn't want it to be seen as that. So as soon as somebody says 99 quid, it infers, and I'm like, oh man, come on, that's not the driver behind it. No. So it does personally hurt, but I get your point, so thank you.
I suppose one of the other things that's worth mentioning, one of the things we want to really do this year, and we kind of did it a little bit last year, but we really want to ramp it up this year, is that once you've sort of done the daytime stuff of doing a bit of knowledge, learning some stuff, if you do choose to tootle off out into a local coffee shop or something, fine. But we wanted the evening to be a come together of a real party celebration where you can actually just have a few beers and start to chat to people. Because as soon as you're all in one tent and the music's good, so we've got some good bands that we're looking at lining up, and some good beer. Rich is really excited about this year's lineup, and we've got another bar as well that are looking to put on drinks for the evening. We just want it to be that melting pot of people being able to just sort of throw away all the sort of cares and worries of the outside world, because it is a busy old world, isn't it? And then just have a laugh with people that are like-minded.
It's always been a case of everybody that's at the festival mucks in together in the evening, gets drunk. Everybody that's doing the speaking, everybody that's doing any of the workshops is going to be there in the tent drinking beer with you, probably with the exception of Noel, because he's fucking antisocial. But everybody else will be there.
And we just nod on, yeah, this is correct.
There'll be tea available, I'm sure, on site. For the civilised Radio 4 types like myself, that'll be there.
Do we have to create a special area of the festival, Neil's Tea Shop?
I'd love that.
He won't actually buy tea, he's going to make his own, right?
Yeah, in my camper van.
So can I just make one last point about the festival? It's like a serious point. So if you follow on the social media at the minute, on the Facebook, especially the Lightweight Adventurers Festival group, which is created on Facebook, got a lot of people joining that. You'll see we're not chucking out loads and loads of marketing at the minute. Ticket sales are going steady, and that's fantastic, but we've not really gone for it yet. And that's because, and this might feed into why you've not heard about where it is until today, because we're taking a variation of license from where it was beforehand. We were on an event license, which you can largely submit overnight. It's got to be authorised by only a handful of local authorities. This time we've gone for a full premises license, which means a far more involved process, far more involved process. It's been so much more involved than we actually anticipated, and it's just taken slightly longer. If you clock that we haven't overly marketed it yet, that's why. It's not because it's selling out. I'm still getting messages via the website or social media saying, is it sold out? We've not heard much. No, it's not. And you can still go to the website, Lightweight Adventurers website, and buy a ticket. Just we haven't thrown it in people's faces.
Where do we get tickets from?
Lightweightadventurers.co.uk. And then there's got a big button as soon as you land on the page, festival tickets. Click that. It's called a full weekender. That's the ticket that you want, £99. And bosh, that's you in from Friday onwards.
See you there.
I hope to see you there. You'll be doing a stage.
Just on the Academy Adventure, this is a real community-based festival. So if there's anybody out there that feels they could deliver a session for us in the Academy, like Mark and Jamie were saying there about visas and Carne have had some sort of experience that they think would be worth passing on, it would be great to get in touch with us as well. Whilst it's Mark and Jamie's festival, like they said at the start, this is really the Lightweight Adventurers Festival, and that's everyone that comes to the festival.
There we go. Hope to see lots of you there. Hopefully we get some glorious weather again this year. It's going to be a cracking event. It's always been loads of fun. If you want to get in touch with Mark or Jamie or buy tickets, you can get them from lightweightadventurers.co.uk. All right, we'll see you there. And if not, we'll see you on the next podcast. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate your support. Don't forget you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you really appreciate what we do, you could consider supporting us on Patreon or buy us a coffee. Links are available on our website, which is tampodcast.com, tampodcast.com, where we also have a limited selection of branded stuff. But either way, please keep listening and spreading the word. See you next time.